This is slightly crooked. I'll wait for people to trickle in here. You guys hear me all right? If not, I have a microphone that can be used as well. We'll wait a couple minutes here just to make sure everybody can trickle in. Just give me a thumbs up or a comment that you can hear me clearly. If you can't, I have a set of earphones beside me that I can put in with the microphone built in, so it should be a lot easier for you guys to hear. Perfect. Thanks, Dave. Worked on it all morning. No idea how many times I dropped this flag. So for this one, you're going to need a chair, some sort of ball. If you don't have a ball, that's okay. We have modifications for it. You're also going to need a broomstick for the later ones. But like I said, there is adaptations to all of them to ensure that everybody can do this regardless of what equipment they have. Stay. Say people are slowly trickling in. It is Saturday, so it's better off to get to a little bit of a later start. Keep that normal schedule, so go for another 2 minutes or so. As I said, today we're going to be doing a range of motion class, so it's a little bit different spin on that traditional stretching that most people end up ignoring at the end of their day. So we're going to go bottom to top. So we're going to start your feet, go right up to your head, hit the main trigger points in the body with a lacrosse ball. You can do this with a partner too. There is adaptations for that, so make sure everybody gets along. Yeah, no worries. Thank you for joining us. If you're wondering why I'm kind of looking slightly up, I have this synced to my TV so I can actually see what you guys are seeing, and I can see your comments as they come up. So any questions that arise, I can kind of just answer them as we go. Wait for a couple more to trickle in here and we'll get you guys started. One thing we will do, if you're wearing socks, we'll get you guys to go bare feet. Like I said, Danny, I have it hooked to my TV, so they come up a little bit bigger than on like a computer or a phone, just to make sure that I can keep conversation fluent the whole time, and frankly, because I have the connector, which I found yesterday, so it was a very convenient find. Like I said, we're going to go barefoot. If you're wearing socks, please take them off. If you're wearing shoes, just stop. Just take them off. Shouldn't be doing that. To begin with, we'll go another minute and we'll get you guys started. So like I said, we're going to go bottom to top. So we're going to start off with your feet. We're going to show you guys how to stabilize the arch in your foot first. And then we're kind of going to go up from there. A lot of this is not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be comfortable for myself either, especially going after these workouts. There's going to be some pretty sore spots that we're going to find, especially in certain areas that you haven't stretched before, like if you haven't done a QL smash or a Piriformis Scrub. Those are going to be an absolute treat for you guys, especially the first rib mobilization that we're going to do at the end. Most people have not even heard of that. So we are going to go through that, help with your neck a little bit. So on top of that, we are going to get started. So we're just going to come up to a standing position. We're just going to get you to set your feet first. So what we're going to do is think of your feet as a tripod. So tripod being your heel, your last two toes here, and then the knuckle of your big toe here. So what you're going to do is press your toes into the floor and then try to pull them back towards your heel. So what that's going to do is set that arch in your foot, and that's what we want to maintain, because if that arch collapses, your knee is going to collapse as well. So whatever happens at the structure below, the structure above is going to follow suit. So whatever happens at the ankle is probably going to radiate up to the knee. Whatever happens in the knee is going to radiate up to the hip. That goes into your low back, so on and so forth. So the first thing we're going to do here is you're just going to set your squat stance either beneath your hips or beneath your shoulders. Set the arches of your feet, and then you're just gonna come down to a nice body weight squat. And we're actually gonna hang out here for about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. As a rule of thumb, we should try to spend about 10 minutes a day in this position. If you look at the populations with the world's healthiest spines, 1 is elite level Olympic lifters, 2 is elite level power lifters, and 3 is populations of countries where they sit like this to eat or use the bathroom or anything like that. If you have tight calves or anything like that, just try to get as low as you can. If you can only get to here, that's fine. You can come down. Your arches will hate you for a little bit. We are going to get into some things to kind of help that to ensure, but that's where we start. That's where we start from the bottom up. So, once again, here, if you find your ankles are tight, you can lean to one side. You can even bring your elbow to the top of the knee. Drive that knee over the toe. There is no external load on the body, so this is perfectly fine. Just ensure that that arch is maintained in the bottom of your foot. Spend about another 10 seconds here, and then we're gonna rotate to the other side. So just nice and steady here. Slowly come back to center, and you're gonna do the same thing to the other side. Try to just take some nice deep breaths through this whole thing. If you try to tense up during any of it, obviously we're not going to get into that tissue a little bit more because that tissue is going to be fighting back. Thanks, Dave. It's nice with a nice quiet class that will listen. So, you got 10 more seconds here. After this, we're actually going to stretch your big toe. So, with that, you start bringing your feet closer together, and then you're just going to come up onto your toes. So really focusing on keeping those ankles straight and driving that big toe into the floor. Should feel a nice stretch down the center of your foot. Put that toe into extension. Depending on how far you go, you might even get into a little bit of hyperextension. Doing stuff like this is really important because your feet kind of drive you. If you look at some people's feet, they're kind of curved in like this, whereas your toes aren't supposed to touch each other. Thankfully, new studies and stuff are coming out on that to actually give us some stuff to help combat that. A lot of it's because of narrow shoes that we have to wear all the time. So, with that, we're going to come to our ball. Doesn't matter what kind of ball you have. You can have a lacrosse ball, you can have a ball hockey ball, you can have a softball. I have an elastic ball. I'm not going to use it because it's probably going to fall apart. But if you don't have a ball, I'll show you some stuff that you can do with your hands. If you want to, you can go outside and get a rock. That'll work too. Just make sure you cover it with like a towel or something so it doesn't cut your foot up. So what we're going to do is you're just going to put that ball on the floor. You're going to stand up and you're just going to start rolling the arches of your foot. If you don't have a ball, just sit down and start driving your thumbs into the fascia on the bottom of your feet. So I'm going to demonstrate the ball on this foot, and then I'm going to demonstrate the thumbs on the other. So it's kind of counterintuitive. If you find a spot that's sore, you're going to work it out. So you can tag it to the floor. If you want to, you can push straight down, start moving your toes around so you're flexing and relaxing that musculature. Hang out some time around your heel. And just kind of scrub. So once again, we always want to spend at least 30 seconds on the stretch, because if we don't, or if we go any shorter of a period of time than that, it's actually not going to allow us to adapt to that new muscle length, and it'll just go right back to where it is. So go ahead and switch feet. If you have a ball, do the same thing. If you don't have a ball, you're just going to take your thumbs, you're just going to grab your foot, and you're just going to start doing small circles, kind of like a normal foot massage, and just kind of work out those knots. A lot of the time inside your arches, right around here, fighting the cat for control of the ball. That's a good one. That'll keep you busy at least. A little bit of entertainment while you do this. So, Just work it out. Like I said, inside those arches is going to be very tender. After you do so, your feet might feel like they're almost getting tickled from the ball. That's perfectly normal. It's just your feet and the skin reacting through it all. Once again, we're just going to spend about 30 seconds to a minute after this, and then we're actually going to get into your ankles a little bit more. So if you find that knot, just try to work it out. Whenever you're ready, kind of just shake out your toes. Should feel a little bit better. There has been one study, I will say one, because there's follow-up research that needs to be done, that shows rolling out the bottom of your feet that can get you 1 to 2 inches closer towards touching your toes. So that's another reason why we do it. Obviously, that's one study instead of many. But one thing that is well researched is the angle. So we're going to come up to a semi-kneeling position. You're going to set that arch in your foot, making sure that it's staying up. From there, you're going to take your knee and drive it over your toe. You want to keep that heel on the floor, because if that heel comes up, you're just compensating for that lack of range by coming up off the floor. So you're just going to come up. Should feel a nice pull right in the Achilles tendon area, either at the bottom or right up where it transitions into your calf. So we're going to spend 30 seconds here. Just breathe throughout. We don't want your face becoming the same color as the PSP sign behind me, which I have to say is massive. Thanks, Glenn. I've always wanted a billboard advertisement in my apartment. So from there, you're going to come back and relax, and then you're going to push your toe out, or your knee over your toes outwards. Get a little bit different of a range. Once again, keeping that heel on the floor. That's the most important thing here, along with keeping that arch in your foot. If you have difficulty keeping that arch, you can always slide your fingers underneath to help at least get you into that position, and then we'll work on it as we go. A few more seconds here. So we'll come back to that starting position, and then we're going to go inwards. So you're going to plant that foot, come in slightly, and drive over the toe. Once again, keep that arch in the foot. It's a little bit more difficult in this position because we are folding in, so your foot does want to collapse, but that's where that strength in the bottom of your feet kind of come into play. So we're about halfway through here. After this, we're going to go to the other foot, the other ankle rather, before we get into your calves, which is just a pleasant time for most people. So relax, and then switch feet. Shake out the ankle if you like. You may feel some clicking, that's fine, as the tendon can just slide over the bone. So, from here, you're just going to, once again, plant that foot, so driving those toes into the floor, pull it back towards the heel, set that arch, and you're just going to go right over the foot. No, the PSP flags are new, posters rather. I actually had to hang it from my ceiling because I had no idea where I was to put it, because it takes up most of my walls. So, hey, it fits there, so that's where it's going to stay. So you got another 5 seconds to come up, and then we're going to come right back down. Now we're going to go out. So you're going to take your foot and push it out for another 30 seconds. Right, David does add a lot of color. As you can see by my apartment, a lot of it is just white. Obviously there is a little bit more color throughout the house, but the living room is primarily white. It's great for not trying to stain anything, which is just going to be an absolute thrill trying to get my damage deposit back with so many white things. 5 seconds left, and relax. So come back up. You can roll at the ankle if you like, but then we're going to come back in for the last one here and roll forward and in. Try to maintain that arch the best you can. We're going to spend 30 seconds here. Once again, You can bring that elbow to the top, add a little bit more driving force forward, but you're just trying to go to the point of discomfort. You're not trying to wrench your knee over your toes. Just go until you get that point of discomfort, and you're just gonna hold there. So we're not trying to go to the absolute end range of the tissue. We're trying to go to the range that you can tolerate. Big difference there. So we're gonna come back, go ahead and sit down. We're gonna grab whatever ball you have. If you don't have a ball, I will give you, once again, a couple different areas. If you do have somebody in your house, whether it's significant other, roommate, or child, they can help you too. It's gonna be a little bit more painful because they're gonna get into the tissue a little bit differently, but it's fine. So you're gonna take your ball right at the bottom of your calf. If you pull your toes towards your shin, you're gonna feel the bottom part of your calf and this little flat spot that goes into your Achilles tendon. You're gonna take your ball and you're gonna place it right there. Now, if you don't have a ball, you can get in there with your thumbs as well. If you have a partner, you can lie down on your stomach and they can actually drive their heel into that area. Anybody that's going to do that, for the partner driving their heel in, make sure you keep a nice eye on your other partner's face because it's quite hysterical and they may cry. It's great. If you want a little bit more pressure here, you're just going to bring that other foot over and you start tacking and flossing. So whenever you find a knot, just pin it to the floor and then just start moving your ankle around. So this is the first position of the calves. Calves are notoriously tight on most people, especially when we look at the squat. Calves are usually one of the big things why you can't get parallel or something like that. Several different causes. We're not going to get into that because we can spend an entire hour simply on that. A few more seconds here. Let it go. And then you're just going to move it up slightly till you get to that meaty part of the calf. Kind of that big spot, you'll know where you're at because once you put pressure on it, your calf's actually going to expand a little bit. Yep, so using a foam roller is very similar. It's just a wider surface area, whereas the ball will actually get into that knotted up tissue a little bit more. Yeah, especially being locked up in the house for an extended period of time. Wife may not see some harm in causing some pain. Blows off a little bit of steam as well, gets a few laughs. I know when we do it in class, most people either laugh or cry or a mixture of both. Some of the areas that we will get into today, you're going to see that as well. Like I said, the QL smash and the Piriformis Scrub are going to be fantastic. You're probably going to exhale very strongly when we get into the first rib mobilization because it's just a bundle of fun, but it's worth it. So once again, just try to transition side to side, moving that ankle about. After this, we're going to get the attachment behind the knee of both your hamstring and your calf. Two different ways of doing that. I'm going to show you the lesser of two evils because the other one is just miserable. So, call it there. After that, you're going to take your ball, you're going to put it right behind your knee into that little groove, and you're going to hug it into the body. So this is getting the bottom part of your hamstrings, top part of your calf. You can try to move your toe around if you want, but depending on your tolerance or how tight this is, you may just want to stay there. If you really want to get into that tissue, come up to a kneeling position and sit on that area. It's not pleasant at all, but it does add a little bit more pressure to get into that tissue. Once again, it's about 30 seconds here. Move that ankle about if you can. And relax. That's one side. Now we're going to get to the other. So, you have the ball, once again, down by that Achilles tendon area. If you don't have the ball, just grab your thumbs and start getting in there. Find that knot, do small circles. Your calf muscles run downwards for the tissues, so you can actually just get in there, go straight down, or you can find that knot and try to work it out. If you're using your hands, you can gradually just move your way up the calf. If somebody's stepping on your calf and driving the heel into that area, you can move it up pretty easily as well. So that also works. If we're using the ball, please move it up into that meaty part of the calf. If you're using your fingers, once again, go up. Yeah, Jason, it is kind of medieval-ish, but it works. The reason a lot of this hurts so much is because we skip it at the end of our workout. We always magically have somewhere to be at the end of our workouts. That just keeps us from doing our mobility. And then we end up being in situations like this. So, once again, with the ball behind the knee, if you don't have a ball, you can actually take your fist and hug it in just the same. So just stepping or driving the heel into the back of the knee, that's just not going to be fun for anybody. 30 seconds here, and then we're going to start getting into your quads. So we're going to do a quadriceps scrub here. This is not going to be pleasant. You skip this for several years, this is going to be great for you then. This next one's going to be fun. So we're going to get into the quadriceps tendon next. Go ahead and relax. So you're going to need your ball. You can use your fist if you need to. Like I said, you can have somebody kind of drive their heel in there. If that is the case, please grab like a towel or something and put it behind your knee so you don't end up hyperextending. So with the ball, we're going to get into your quadriceps tendon. So if you flex your knee really hard, you're going to have this little divot between your quads. It's a couple inches above your kneecap. You're going to put it right there, and then you're going to lie on it. So just going to take it, lie down on it. This is step one. Enjoy this while it lasts because it just gets a lot more pleasant afterwards. So feel it out, find that spot. Yeah, don't skip it, Deva. Do it now. You won't do it. So whenever you're ready, we're going to add some movement into this. So we're going to tack and floss it. So from here, you're going to start bending your leg up towards your hamstring. You may need to adjust a little bit. And we're going to do 10 of these. Nice and slow. Don't go too fast. We want to make sure that we're actually getting into that tissue and allowing it time to mobilize through. I know it doesn't feel great, but it feels better than the next one. A few more here. After this, we're going to get into the medialis, which is the muscle on the inside of the quad that a lot of stretchers don't get. So this one may put you into tears. You may swear under your breath a little bit. That's perfectly fine. So once you're done at 10, you're going to take your knee up and you're going to place the ball just on the inside of your leg. And you're going to sit on it. It does not feel good. If you feel pain, you're in the right spot. There is no movement to this one just because it sucks. So essentially we're just pinning the musculature basically into the femur. And we're just going to sit on it. If you really want to see how it feels, you can try to straighten your leg. It doesn't tickle by any means, but it's going to feel good. Afterwards, if you want, you can kind of just do circles with your knee. Just add a tiny little bit of movement. Get into it. We're not going to do the lateral quad, so the outside of the leg with the lacrosse ball, because it just feels like you're tearing the musculature off, and it's not great. Really selling this whole thing, huh? So, a few more seconds here. Go ahead and take that lacrosse ball out. Come up to a kneeling position. Kind of give yourself a second to relax. Let that sit. And then we're going to do the same thing to the other leg. Yeah, you're going to hear the word unpleasant a lot during the stream. So once again, take the ball right in the top part of the quad. Start just by lying on it, finding the spot that hurts the most. And just sit on it. So we'll spend 20-30 seconds just sitting on it before we start adding the movement. Just trying to scrub that area a little bit. Whenever you're ready, start bending the knee. Make sure you breathe once again. If this really hurts, an easy way to breathe is just to swear under your breath. It's fine. It may hurt, but everybody's here together. We're all doing the same thing, so everybody feels your pain in this one. Whenever you're done at 10, you're just going to transition into that medial quad area and enjoy the feeling. So once again, you can just kind of stay on it and pin it, or you can start adding little circles. One side is typically more tight or sore than the other just because of imbalances in the body. That's perfectly normal. Just be aware of that once we get in to the shoulders, especially the traps, and especially the piriformis and the QL, because those just aren't going to be pleasant. Once again, if you don't have a ball, you can do the same thing with your fist, just kind of digging it in. You can run your fingers through, or have somebody step on it. It's not pleasant. It may roll around in agony a little bit. It's fine. It's temporary. So whenever you're done, just come on up. Kind of kneel. Exactly as it. No pain, no gain. Thankfully, this pain is temporary, and hopefully we'll fix some pain that you've been having for a little while with some of these trigger points. So I know a lot of people's hip flexors and hips in general are pretty fired up from Jeff's class, so we're going to get into there now. So you're going to need a chair or a couch. You can use a wall, whatever you got. I also brought a towel just for my knee to go on the floor, so you're not digging your kneecap right into the hardwood. So you're just going to pick a knee. You can go up in your couch stretch. I'm going to angle this off a little bit. Just go in your traditional couch stretch. One modification here is we're going to go into a posture pelvic tilt. So you're going to start your hips back. You're going to scoop your hips underneath you, kind of like you're trying to scoop ice cream, and then you're going to sit up nice and tall. The closer your butt is to your heel, the deeper the stretch you're going to feel. Okay? Once again, try not to have your hip way out. Try to keep that hip nice and underneath you. Try to have that front foot with the arch set. We're going to come here, and then we're going to start adding a couple other pieces to it. Okay, so we're going to do a modified gross greatest stretch after this. So from here, you're going to scoot that front foot forward, and then you're actually going to come into a deep lunge, deeper than you can go on. You can scoop some actual ice cream after this if you want. It's up to you. So we're going to stay here. So the whole goal here is to get this hip nice and straight. If you can't get it straight, that's fine. We're going to work on it as we go. We do have two more pieces to this, so we're going to add in a twist, a little bit of rotation, and then we're going to add in a thoracic spine drill with this. So this next part, if you have the mobility to do it, go ahead and do it. So you're actually going to take your opposite elbow, and you're going to drop it to the floor and rotate it towards that knee. And if you want to, you can actually hug that knee into the body. You'll feel a little bit of a pinching sensation in your hip. Add a little bit of rotation. Same thing, still trying to push that back hip towards the floor. If you can't get into this position, just stay up into that high lunge. From here, we're going to come back up onto our hands. Whatever knee's forward, you're going to take that hand, put it behind your ear, and you're going to crunch down, so rotating your elbow towards that gap between your chest and your bicep, and then you're going to slowly rotate up. So getting some rotation through the thoracic, and we're going to do 10 of these. Still trying to push that hip right towards the floor, and just nice and smooth. Once you're done with 10, you're going to go back up and scoot yourself back into that couch stretch. That's okay if this foot kind of stays forward a little bit. Whenever you're ready, move this back, step forward, and shake it out. One hip should feel quite a bit looser in that front part. And then after that, we're going to switch sides. Rotate this a little bit. Stopwatch the cross ball. Once again, come down onto the other leg. Do that ice cream scoop motion to tilt your pelvis backwards, and then get into that musculature a little bit more. 30 seconds here. Try to breathe. Once again, closer that foot is to your butt, the deeper the stretch you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it up here, a little bit down towards your knee. Once again, just go towards where you feel discomfort. We don't want an absolute wrenching sensation on it. From here, scoot your opposite leg forward, come down into that nice deep lunge, pushing that hip towards the floor. You kind of move that opposite leg out wide if you want to feel another sensation in that side of the hip. A few more seconds here. Whenever you're ready, if you can, rotate that elbow down and rotate up. You can't get into this position, just stay in the previous one. And just try to relax. From here, we're going to come back up. Same arm as the knee forward, behind the ear. Rotate down, slowly rotate out. Just trying to get a little bit further each time. Still pushing that knee towards the floor. Should feel a nice little stretch, front side of the hip. You may get it a little bit into your abdomen where your psoas is. It's perfectly normal. Let's count. I'm going to assume that's 10. Whenever you're done, come right back up into that couch stretch position. Few seconds here. You'll walk. Don't be surprised if you have a couple bruises on here. That's perfectly normal, especially with deoxygenated blood, anything like that, rising up to the surface as we spread the muscle fibers apart. Perfectly normal. And come on up. Shake out the legs, and then we're going to get the back side of your body. So we're going to end up doing a Piriformis Scrub. We're going to do two ways of doing this. We're going to do it with the ball and without. Without the ball is definitely the lesser of two evils. With the ball, it just hurts. It works, but it hurts. If you have any issues with sciatic pain or anything like that, this will help with that area because sometimes when that gets bumped up, it can put pressure on the sciatic nerve. So, we're going to do it without the ball first. That way we can break up that tissue a little bit. I like to break it up with a foam roller first, but that's not something I have here. So, what we're going to do, angle off, you're just going to lie down on your back. You're going to take a leg, bring it up over top. You're going to push that knee away from you. You're going to bring one leg through the center, one leg on the outside. You can either grab behind your hamstrings, or if you can, grab towards the knee, and then pull it towards your chest. Whichever knee is up, so you can see me waving my foot, you should feel a slight pull or pinch in that side. If you want a little bit deeper of a stretch, lift your shoulder blades up to increase that angle a little bit, and hang out here. Once again, try to breathe. You never want to hold your breath through these. Nice and light here. A few more seconds. So let that leg go, bring it down, and then unwind. You can kind of rotate that hip out. Just kind of lie here for a second. That hip should feel a little bit looser, maybe even a little bit closer to the floor, depending on your sensation. Whenever you're ready, we're going to cross that other leg over. Same idea, either grab the hamstrings or the knee, pull it towards your chest. So we're forcing the femoral head in the hip joint and the femur itself into external rotation, kind of freeing up some of that space on the back side. If you want, come up into that semi-crunched, so pick those shoulder blades up off the floor, and come up. Breathe, try to let that glute relax. And then bring that foot down and release. Kind of shake up the hips. If you don't have a ball, go ahead and take a break there. If you do have a ball, you're going to have a great time for this one. So, where we're going to put it is right here, so the top part of your hip here. Kind of have this side part of your glute. That's where we're going to put the lacrosse ball. So right in here, okay? After that, you're just going to rotate on to that ball. You'll know when you find the spot. It's pretty apparent. It doesn't tickle. So you can either stay here, you can drop your elbow, or if you really want to get into that tissue, cross your leg over. And then just let it sit. And then you can kind of rotate a little bit, try to get into the musculature around it. So just in the glutes in general. If you want, you can increase that angle a little bit more. Come right up on your hand. Completely up to you where you can tolerate where your pain threshold is. Once again, just trying to go to that point of discomfort. I know discomfort is kind of an understatement for what you may be feeling right now. Just know that you're not the only one. I actually did this morning, and that's why I'm not in tears right now. So, a few more seconds here. Really try to get into that tissue. And whenever you're ready, take it out. Just kind of sit on the floor, extend your legs. One leg should feel significantly different. If you have sciatic pain on that side, you may feel a sigh of relief. If you have lower back pain on that side, you may feel a little bit of relief as well. So, now we're going to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. So once again, right into the side of your butt. You're going to rotate on. Oh, this side sucks. So, you're going to stay here. You can bring it to the elbow, or go into full rotation in the hip, external rotation that is, and sit. After this, we're going to do a QL smash. It's probably going to be the worst thing we do today. No matter if you do it with a ball or with a partner, it just sucks. There's no way of getting around it, but you're going to feel a lot better. Wow, this side hurts way more. Just kind of scrub that area. Yeah, you may, your legs may seizure a little bit. Your sciatic nerve, which innervates the entire lower body, runs through this area. So you may feel some tingling in your toes, back your calf, anything like that. We are putting a little bit of compression on it, and that's perfectly fine as it's not permanent. Rotate it through. Find a knot, sit on it. You may feel a little bit pull your lower back too. That's just where it attaches. And whenever you're ready, breathe a sigh of relief and take that ball out. So we'll give you guys a second here. Have a drink of water. Some of you may be sweating just because of just hurts and you're just squeezing your face really hard to try to deal with it. Before we get into your QL, so your QL is your Quadratus Lumborum. It's a deep core muscle that runs parallel to your spine. connects on the top part of your pelvis and the bottom of your ribs. So about this long, typically. So bottom of your hip, top part of your ribs, spine is right in the center. We're going to get into this area. So if you have a lacrosse ball, you're going to get in there. If you have a partner, put something under your stomach and have them drive the heel in there. If you don't have either of those, you can bring your fist right behind your back and lie on that, or anything that basically won't break. So you're going to take the ball, put it right down, and you're just going to lie on it. Same knee will stay up, opposite knee will drop. You can stay here. If you want a little bit more of a pull, come up, grab the knee. Adds a little bit more weight, forcing down. Stay here. If you want to get a little bit deeper into that tissue, once again, pick your head up off the floor, driving your body into the ball. From here, we're going to rotate out a little bit. If you can, try to get it from the side. And try to breathe. I know this one is not fun, but it'll be worth it at the end. Just relax, a few more seconds here. Slowly roll back to center, over to the side, and go ahead and take that ball out. If you bend both legs and sit, one part of your lower back is going to feel almost softer than the other side, which is what we want. So after that, you're just going to switch sides and do the exact same thing. So once again, right in this area of the back, lie flat on the ball. You can either stay here or increase that a little bit. Drive that knee towards the chest. Rotate inwards a little bit. Get a little bit different area on that musculature. If you want a little bit more, pick up your head into a partial crunch. A few more seconds. And bring that head back down, rotate over. So, we got two left. These ones going to be interesting if you have a tight upper body. This is going to feel great, we'll say, at least afterwards. So, what we're going to do is you're going to find the bottom part of your shoulder blade, somewhere in here, and your spine is right here. You're going to place the ball right there. So, you're going to take your ball, place down, sit on it, enjoy that feeling. Whenever you're ready, you're going to start your hand down by your hip, and you're going to push your fingers away from you and bring it up overhead and back down. We're going to do 10 of these before we switch to the other side. Getting that muscle that helps move your scapula, your shoulder blades, lower part of the trap. Once you're done of 10, slide that ball out and switch to the other side. Slide this way so you guys can see it. Bottom of the shoulder blade. One side is going to feel significantly worse than the other. Hand by the hip, up overhead, and repeat. So you're constantly trying to push that hand away from the shoulder while keeping that shoulder pinned to the floor. Send here nice and slow, or at whatever rate you can use. Make sure you're breathing throughout. Once you're done with your 10 reps, go ahead, slide that ball out, and you can just roll it to the side. We got one more left, and this is going to be a new one for most people. We'll roll that to the side, give you guys a second to kind of relax, get that out of the way. So the next one we're going to get into your first rib and your scalenes. Scalenes run on the outside of your neck, come down and connect into your first rib. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our broomstick, make sure the end is off. After that, you're going to find a wall, or in my case a deep freeze, to pin one end against, okay? Once that's done with your fingers, you're going to find your collarbone. So my collarbone's right here. Trap is up here. If you go right behind the collarbone, there's going to be a little gap there. So your first rib lies within there. If you want to see how fun this is going to be for you, drive your fingers in there and see how nice it feels. That's just a little sample of what this is going to be. So you're going to grab your broomstick. You're going to lie down. You're going to take that end of the broomstick and you're going to put it in the gap and press up against it. We're going to go through that whole sequence 10 times. So once again, up overhead, down to the opposite hip, up overhead, back down to the hip. That's 2. Constantly trying to push those fingers away from the shoulder. May feel a little bit of pull in your neck. That's normal as it shares musculature that attaches to your first rib. Halfway. Good job, guys. I know this one might suck, but it's going to feel really good afterwards. You got 3 more. Again, bring that attention back towards your breathing. Should feel this start to ease off as you go through. Whenever you're done your 10, take that broomstick out and then come up to seated. So, give you guys a couple seconds just to relax. If you notice, with mine, one shoulder is a little bit different than the other one. Definitely feels a lot looser. It feels like it's sitting lower. That's perfectly normal because as this gets tight, it kind of pulls us up into the semi-shrug position, and you almost feel less of a pull going side to side. So what we do to one side, we've got to do the other. So we're just going to do the exact same thing to the other side. So once again, take the broomstick, pin it up against the wall, scoot back, find your collarbone, find that space. Keep that opposite hand on top so it doesn't slip, and you're going to rotate through those motions. So up overhead, across the opposite hip, back up overhead, and down to the hip. That's 1. This is your dominant side. It may feel a little bit worse. So I think this is the last one you got to do for this class today. It is the weekend, so you can take a little breather. Try to keep somewhat of a normal functioning schedule of separating your week and your weekend. A few more here. Just try to allow that all to relax as we go through. Whenever you're down to your 10, go ahead and take the broomstick out, shake it out, I think that was 10, and relax. So there we are, there's your range of motion for this Saturday. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Obviously, if you enjoyed it, please share the page, share the live stream, use those hashtags, tag us, whatever you need to do. Thank you guys for tuning in. I know everybody's getting a little shack happy being cooped up for all this quarantine. I now understand why dogs get so excited to go for walks now after being stuck in my house for the last 2 weeks. So hopefully we actually get to go outside soon without the risk of getting ticketed at least. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns on anything we did today or any of the other classes, please leave a comment for all of us. I'll be in the comments the next little while as soon as I remember my Facebook login so I can actually answer your questions. But other than that, that's it for me. Thank you guys for joining in, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.